what you're doing is quite unique in the fact that you are being that deal maker and actually going and making it happen. So that's really awesome. You've obviously dealt with a lot of property investors over your time, generally in the industry and obviously in Townsville. What are some of the common mistakes you see people make when they're buying an investment property?
Do not buy an investment property to renovate it and put things like stone countertops and things in it. Like, unless you're in a certain price point, you're not getting more rent. Just leave the laminate benchtop there. I mean, there's a lot of different mistakes people make. I mean, there's lots of little ones. I could go on and on forever and ever and point out just little things, but
macro. Let's zoom out and go macro. Is it like trying to add value, or is it squabbling too much over the price and not like what? Like where do you kind of see the big miss hits?
Price is one. We had one. I would say like 2 days ago. I had one where a lady had called. I'd given her really accurate rental appraisal, and I'll be really specific. It was a 3-bed home in Kerwin. I appraised it for $420 per week. And I was on the money, like every person I'd spoke to, everything I looked at on the computer said it was somewhere between like 390 and 410, and I always push it. Our Harcourts were always a little bit higher, so we really are driving that price high. And then that lady came back to me yesterday and said, another agency has just told me $450 to $480 per week. And I was like, you've got to be kidding. Like, that is a 4-bed, 2-bath home with a study, with maybe a pool. Like, you're not going to get that. And so I ran some reports, I sent them through, and I gave her a call. I'm like, you're just making a terrible mistake, because I'll tell you what's happening. We have 20% of the market share just in our one office. So there's other 52 agents kind of fighting for the rest of it. And to do that now, they're just increasing their appraisals to ridiculous prices. And then what they'll do, they'll leave it on the market for 11, 14 days, and then they'll drop the price all the way down to my appraisal. But she'll be with an agent that lied to her, and she'll have wasted 2 weeks vacancy where she would have rented it within 9 days and had a tenant in there if she was with our agency, or any agency for that fact, that gave her the same appraisal that we did.
This is a really good thing that's a cool angle, right? Because this would apply in any market, anywhere, right?
Correct.
How can, this is not just like for you and Townsville and whatever, if an investor is trying to work out what property manager to go with, and if they're all kind of quoting different, how do they know who to believe? Like, how can they kind of cut through the noise? Because I've seen it happen in, Western Australia. I've seen the same thing happen in South Australia. I've seen the same thing. It happens all over the place. So
yeah, it does.
And you do see agencies and stuff where they're like so desperate for a listing, and so they pump up the price. But also, you get really good agents who are able to get a higher price, so they might also quote a higher price. So you sort of can't have this heuristic of like, go for the second highest one because the highest one's probably lying or whatever. Like, because sometimes the highest one is correct. How do people know? Like, if they're trying to find the right property manager for them, how do they know if it's real or bullshit?
Yeah, so I go with evidence. I'll run a comparative market analysis on everything that's rented within a kilometre of that person's home in the last 6 months. And I won't filter a single thing out of it unless it's something that's not got a pool, and I take the pool. Everything else I leave in there, and I'll make some notes line by line, like which ones we rented, which ones another agent rented. That'll have the days on market on there, and it'll also tell you what price they originally started advertising at and what price they actually dropped it to and rented it at during that time. So it's really, really good tool. So even if someone says, hey, I can get you a higher price, okay, well, show me that report where another agency has actually got a higher price. Because every single rental that's rented is recorded somewhere. So you can see what price that rental got. So evidence, market analysis, and ask for the reports off domain and realestate.com, because I send them every month. We get a report, tells me what my average days on market were, what our market share is, how many properties we rented compared to somebody else, what our prices were like compared to other people. I know for a fact that I'm the only one in Townsville out of 53 rental agencies that sends that report and is happy to share it with anyone.